Hi, David and Reggie. Just wanted to give you guys a quick tour of your website and then also how to get into the dashboard of it and do some of your blog posting and that sort of thing. So I thought the easiest way to do it, since we have issues with internet and connection, is just I'll record a YouTube video and post it and let you guys take a look at it at your leisure. So anyway, I know you've been into the site a little bit, and I think it's looking awfully good. So we'll start out with just a quick tour of the site itself. Now, of course, this is all under grizzlycreeklodge.com. It's now superseded what the site that your daughter made for you. And I want to thank your daughter again for doing all the hard work that she did in starting the foundation of this. And we just sort of built on it. This is the home page itself. Now, the home page can be gotten to by hitting the home button, or any place where the logo is showing up in the upper left-hand corner, you can click that, and that also then goes directly to the home page. Up here also, we have a call us number, and then we have an email us, and you can actually click on that and it'll bring up the email system. So the home page itself, we used what we call a hero page. That's this first photograph that somebody took there from Tabali Lake. I hope I'm saying that right. It's a beautiful photo, and it sure made for a dramatic effect when somebody goes directly to the website, along with this slider. Now, the slider, we can put pictures in there. We can add as many as we want. We can take them out. We can change that off very easily from year to year or season to season. Now, you'll also notice that I put in some new text off and on throughout the site. The reason that I have is that I'm trying to optimize each one of the pages with particular words so that we can start getting some organic visitors to the site. In this case, the home page is being optimized by Canada Fishing Lodges. And so I've been quite creative on putting in some paragraphs, some information that has that keyword, Canada Fishing Lodges. So that Google will start indexing the site quicker that way. And so anyway, we have added a paragraph down here. There's a little bit of animation going on as we move on through. As you've seen before, I think, there's a video here that we put up. Love to have another video there of somebody catching a big fish, or with you guys on the water with someone while they're fishing. That'd be a great video that we can replace that with. The amenities then is just kind of a checklist. Now, these amenities also are hopefully being indexed by Google, and there's a number of them here that we're hoping that we're going to get some lift on, such as huge Canadian lake trout and winter trapline adventures. There's a real opportunity actually under trapline adventures and trapping adventures based on my research in Google. So you'll start seeing some of that as we go on. Here again is your welcome, and again that can be changed out. There's the map where we drew a little bit of a diagram on top of it on the trip out to Tabali Lake. I believe you were saying that's about 85 or 90 miles by air to go from Watson Lake to Tabali, and then we've changed the mileage or the distances over here to mileage from kilometers, and then we have the weather widget. These are what we call feature widgets that are here. Right now they're kind of just a placeholder. We put some information in there. As time goes on, we'll be updating those and maybe adding more. And then down below, these are where the blog postings are coming in on this particular page. Every page has, not every page, but many pages have this blog feed that goes in, and these are automatically updated by the system when you add a new blog post. And once you categorize it and tell it that this is a particular type of blog post, might be fishing or about the lodge, maybe about trapping, then the system is intelligent enough to know where to put that blog post in here. Also down below, we have a question button. If I click that at any time, I'll click it once again. Here we go. It brings up a form right over the top of the web page that people are at, and they can type in their name, their email address, a phone number, and then a question, and that'll come directly to David's email address. And this Ask a Question now is on every single page. If I go to the About Us page, and going here, well, there we go. We have the cameo or the profile of you guys, and then the legacy. I thought that was awfully good. And we just kept the same information that was in there from the original site. I did put information down here about David being a published author and being on staff for Trap and Trail, and then also the other two magazines that are being listed. These are all clickable. You can click on these and you can be taken directly to their website. I scroll on down, I've got some more photos, and then I have my blog posting down here. Now what's coming in here is simply the blog postings about the lodge. And so if you make a blog post and you put information into it along with a picture, and then you click the category Lodge, then it will show up here under About Us. Go to Cabins, and Cabins is just kind of a gallery. I put some information up here. We will be adding more information as time goes on. As I talk to you guys more and more, we'll be trying to get a couple more paragraphs at the bottom of this, or maybe in the middle. But again, there we go. Here it's formatting out. These are the photos that we've had so far. Any great photos that you get of the lodge, I'd sure like to replace some of these out anyway. Also, we have that Ask a Question, and then we have the footer down here. These are the recent posts that have been going into the blog. This is a feed directly from Facebook on your Facebook page, and then we have the contact information over here, and then we have a hot link button on most of these pages now where you can click Book Now, and it will automatically go to the page for Book and Contact. And so that is another link to get people, once they've decided they want to book something, we want to make it really, really convenient for them to figure out how to do that. Here are the different packages involved. Now this is the packages for fishing, and as you can see, I have the original two, and then I have the third one that David sent me information on, the 6500, and that's for the 7-day. I have a description down here that came from you guys on what's included and not, but then I also put in a description on what the exclusive 7-day fly fishing trip includes. Now I'd love to have David kind of go through the stuff that I've added, make sure that I'm grammatically correct and my spelling is correct on those. Him being an accomplished writer, I'm sure he'll pick me apart, but that's okay. I've got thick skin and be glad to change those around. Now remember though that I have written those under the guise of getting SEO indexed through Google. So sometimes they'll seem a little clunky, but it's because we're using words in such a way that Google is going to index them. And so anyway, we have the availability calendar. It comes down here. The availability calendar is available on a couple of the different pages, and we'll show you here in a second how to make updates to the events. They call them events anyway, or the bookings in here. And again, we have the Book Now. We have a blog feeding in here, and then we have the Ask a Question, and we have the footer page down below. If I go to fishing, fishing is basically a lot of photos. I wanted to optimize it for Canada fishing guides, and the reason I want to do that is that there seems to be quite a bit of traffic there that people are not picking up. And so if I can optimize this particular page and talk about you guys and about how you guide and that sort of thing. Again, I've taken the liberty to write some information here. I'd love to have David go through that and add to it or correct it if need be. I put a link in here to the Yukon Environmental Agency, which I believe is where you get your fishing regulations and your online licenses from. Added a couple photos, and then we have the blog feed down here again, and then Ask a Question. You were saying that I'm going to get some new photos, and so there's still some kind of dead space in here. The new photos you said are going to come in around the middle of July, and I'll start filling this in a little bit more, but at least it's acceptable for people coming in right now and just kind of taking a look. The Outpost, is a link, of course, to the lodge on the other lake, and there we go. And again, it just talks about the oasis in the far north. Here's the availability calendar, and then we've got some photos down here and the same sort of information. The gallery, we've broken it into two different galleries per David's suggestion. We have fishing and we have trapping. We can break the fishing up into like northern pike and lake trout and grayling and any of the other things that you guys catch up there. But if I simply click on here, it'll then go to my fishing gallery, and then simply the fishing pictures then show up. I can click on any of these and it will enlarge it. If the picture is a good enough quality, yep, they're doing large. If I want to close it, I just come down here and I close it here. The Trapline Adventures. Now the Trapline Adventures, this is one thing that I've played around with a little bit. There is a tremendous amount of traffic on something called Trapping Adventures, and that's for people looking to go on adventures trapping kind of worldwide. Well, there's like 600 hits per month going to Trapping Adventures, and nobody has really optimized their site to take advantage of it. And so I've taken the liberty then of optimizing this site around the keyword Trapping Adventures. We have the two photos, the nice wolf, and I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a beaver or otter or something like that. And then you've got your video that we created for you. I'm sure you've seen that. Talks about the Trapping Adventures. We have a nice slider. The rates in down here. We have Book Now. And then this is the blog that feeds in. Now when we open the page, I don't know if you heard the wolf howl, but basically I put this YouTube video down here with an autoplay. And so when somebody goes to the site, they are going to hear the wolf howl. And I thought that was a nice addition to it. Also then, we have the book and contact. And if I click here, it goes then. And we've brought in the different rates based on fishing and trapping. And then the forms associated with that. We have an address, and you know, one of the things I need to get from you is the coordinates that I can plug in down here, and then of course the availability calendar and all the contact information down below. Site's turned out looking really, really good. It's very comfortable for people to look at, and I think it's going to be something that Google is going to really appreciate, and they'll reward us with some good rankings on this. One of the things that David is putting together for me is David's tips. And there'll be a little pop-up box that comes up in various pages once I get that back and put that into the system for you guys. But that's just a quick addition to this. So now I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to show you the back side of this. And the back side is where you can go in then and you can update your events, and then you can also add blog posts and that sort of thing. And that's done through what we call the dashboard. Now I've already got the dashboard URL plugged in here. I'm going to click here. But basically it's grizzlycreeklodge.com/WP login. Now along with the email that I'm going to send you with the link to this video, there'll be a password for you. That password shouldn't be shared, of course. And so you just simply type in the username that we'll send you, and then the password down here. And then you're going to hit login, and this of course gets into the back end of WordPress. Now when we get in here to the dashboard, it kind of looks complicated, and I guess in a way it is. There's a lot of moving parts to this, and it's very, very deep, meaning that you can click on some of these things and get into their menu systems and get you know, really far into the development side of this. But to be very honest, you're not going to be playing around with much. When you come to the dashboard on the inside of the screen, you'll be working with some of these over here. If you'll notice that we've got some red circles on updates and plugins, you may at one point or another have a window that comes up and says, do you want to update your plugins? And please don't answer yes. That's something that we keep monitored for you. Sometimes these plugins that we use, which are ways of programming the site, they have to take advantage of some of the internal workings of WordPress. And sometimes WordPress will release a new version of WordPress, but the plugin company hasn't kept up with it, and so when they automatically update WordPress, it freezes up a part or maybe even all of your site, which is not good. It's not anything that we haven't been able to fix in the past, but still it's an inconvenience. And so we want to make sure before we update that all the plugins and the versions of WordPress are working together. We do have on the left-hand side, we have up on the top, we have events. This is where you can go in and you can put in the trips that people have booked, and I'll show you how to do that in just a little bit. Recipes, I've got a really cool recipe system built into this, and if Reggie or whoever at the lodge wants to start adding recipes, we can do that. It'll go into its own blog post. It turns out really slick in the way it asks for the ingredients and the steps and that sort of thing, and a lot of people like that recipe system that we have built into it. So again, if you'd like to activate that, just let me know and we'll turn that on for you and show you how that works. Also down here we have pages. Pages happen to be all the different pages that we just went through in the system. And then we have posts. And so typically, you'll be working with these categories up here, really nothing down below. This has to do more with how we've set up the system and that sort of thing. So without further ado, let's go to posts first. And if I highlight posts, I can look at all the posts if I want. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it will give me a listing of all the posts then that we've currently made. And so we have just a few more spots. This was on a trapping post that I did, and then we've got 3 different posts on around the lodge, or 2, and then we have 1 for fishing reports. And so I'm going to take the trapping one just to start out with and show you what's kind of behind the scenes here. If I highlight it, you'll notice I have an edit button down here. And if I click the edit button, it'll then bring up another screen kind of right in the middle. And it will show me a title, and then it'll show me the information that I'm currently posting within the blog post. So the title is just a few more spots available for the 2017 Trapline Adventures. And then I have this editor that sort of looks like Microsoft Word. It's actually called WYSIWYG, and WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get, and it's close enough. You can come in here and you can put in and type directly into this, just like what you would a Microsoft Word document, and you can put all that information directly in there. Obviously, I'm just kind of playing around here. Now, when you do a blog post, Google is typically looking for blog posts that are at least 300 words long. And so in this case, I've just put in some example information, but this is where you'd go in and you would type in your 3 or 4 paragraphs to get those 300 words. Once then that you've created a title and you've created a blog post itself, the information that goes into it, then on the right-hand side, if you scroll down, here are your categories. And so I've listed this one in trapping. I'm also going to list this one in wildlife, just for the heck of it. And so I can make multiple categories for the same blog post, and they'll show up at the same place. Now, the other thing I can do is I can come down here and I can add a featured image. And that featured image then is the picture that is displayed with this particular blog post. And so once I've done all of this, I come over here and hit the update button, and it will update my blog post. Now I'm editing this, and so this isn't really how you create a new one. I'll show you that here real quick. If I go over to my posts and I come down here to add new, and it will then bring up a screen where I can add in my new blog post. And let's say I wanted to call this, just for the heck of it, Ted's Fishing Adventure. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say Ted caught a lot of fish with David. And now I'm going to add a photo to this. So I'm going to scroll down here and see where it says featured image. I'm going to come and set the featured image. And then I can either upload files directly from my computer, or I can pull one of the files or the pictures that we have in the system currently. So I'm going to grab this good looking guy here, and I'm going to set that as the featured image. And then I'm going to come back up to categories, and I'm going to say this is a, let's say it's a fishing, and it's an around the lodge. And then never forget to update. And so here's the update or the publish button in this case because it's brand new. And now I've published this blog post in the system. Now, of course, I would have wanted to put at least 300 words here and put some great information. But now if I go back up to my website, and let's say I go to, I was in fishing, wasn't I? So I'm going to click fishing, and it will bring up the fishing page. And if I scroll down, there's my blog post. It's refreshing here real quick. The photos are going to come up here in just a second. There we go. And so there's Ted's Fishing Adventure. I can then click read more if I had more information. So for instance, on Dustin's here, if I click read more, I'll go to an actual blog page where I can read the entire article. I can make comments if I'm a user. Those comments have to be approved by you. I can then see the previous post, let's say, and previous post is that delicious rhubarb and strawberry pie, and then I can go back to my home. Remember, I started on fishing. Now if I go to home, if I scroll down on the home page, and again, because I'm recording and that sort of thing, this is taking just a little bit longer, you'll notice that my blog post now has come in, and it is knocked out the third blog post that we have, and just only keeps the three most recent here of all the different blog posts, because home, I've just basically told it to take all my blog posts, no matter what it is, and we'll put it on the home page. So anyway, that's how you create a blog. If I go back then to my dashboard, I'm going to go to all posts, and it should show then the all posts. There's my Ted's Fishing Adventure. I'm just going to trash this. I'm going to hit the trash key, and then it'll ask me to confirm. Oh, no, it didn't, I guess. Hello there. And so then it got rid of that. So let's go in, and then we're going to add an event to the calendar. Let's say you have a booking in here that you want to add. Somebody's called ahead. All I have to do is go to events, and I want to add a new event. And we're in the month of July right now, so I'll add an event in July. And I'm going to put in here, we could put in here something like book for a week if you don't want to display people's names. I can put in Barney and Betty Rubble. I think that dates me. And then I can put in any information that I want here. Really, I don't have to do that if it's just simply an event. And then I scroll down here kind of in the middle of it, and I go and I say, okay, when does it start and when does it end? Well, it's going to start, let's say, on the 13th of July, and they're going to come in at 9 o'clock in the morning. This is military time. And then they're going to go back out on the 19th of July. And I want to do an all day there, so it just simply lists all my days. The recurrence and that sort of thing that works for other types of things. But at this point then, all I have to do is hit publish, and then that publishes this into my events calendars. So now if I come back up here and I go and I look at my web page, and I'm going to go to the book and contact because that's where I know one of the calendars is. If I, there it is. So if I scroll down to my events calendar, oh, here we go, hang on just a second, it's still loading. And again, this is, I now have Barney and Betty Rubble, and they're booked from the 13th through the 18th. Very, very easy to do. I think you're going to like that calendar system. It works very, very well. You can book out years and years in advance if you want. You can look at all sorts of different things with it. And so anyway, that is how you can go ahead and put in the events. If I wanted to go back then and I wanted to get rid of that event, it's very similar to just making a post. I'm just going to look at all events, and it should bring up a listing of all the events. I only have one in there right now, which is Barney and Betty Rubble, and I'm just going to put that in the trash here, and it throws it away. And there it goes. Now to get out of this, all I do is I come over here to Howdy Test, and I hit log out, and it takes me out of the dashboard. I could have just as easily just closed that window, and then I would have been taken out of it also, and it would have worked just fine. So anyway, that is the overview on how to set up an event and how to set up a blog post. I'm more than happy to have you guys just email to me, or I'm going to give you a link. I've had to reset up a link with one of my developers, and so I'll have that active here in the next day or so on another way that you can get me blog posts, and we can go in and post them. So if you're having trouble, maybe the internet's too slow for you to make a post, or you just don't have time to do it and you want to do it real quick, you can email me what you want to have in there. We'll go ahead and make that post for you and that sort of thing, and be glad to work with you in that capacity. And of course, as time goes on now, we have full support up for the next year for you guys, and we can go in and make changes and add photos and add text. Be even glad to show you guys how you can make your own edits to this, because once we've set it up, it becomes fairly easy. You can go in using these WYSIWYG editors and adjust things very easily within the system that we have right here. So anyway, I'm going to stop the video, but if you have any questions with that, please let me know. And again, I thank you guys so much for letting us help you with this. We're excited on building the relationship with you and helping you as time goes on, making this a bigger and bigger part of your organization.